Actually, the creator of it, Michael Reynolds, compared it to the Ark, like Noah's Ark.
Okay.
So it needs to have everything in there to sustain life.
Yes.
Right?
There's so many different ways, and the only limitation is our own imaginations. Tell me I can't grow a nitrogen fixer in the same hole as a productive tree, you just got proven wrong. Tell me I can't raise chickens a certain way, you got proven wrong. Show me I can't run these pigs up through these hills, prove you wrong. And I'm also going to prove all the naysayers out there far and wide, not all of them in necessarily YouTube land, but a number of people out there scoffing at the notion that somebody like me can go out there and put this together, because I can and I will.
You might be wondering just what exactly an Earthship is and what it has to do with homesteading, permaculture, self-sufficiency in general. Well, it's about 5:45 in the morning here, and I'm about to hop in the car and find out the answer to that question. So my friend Billy of Perma Pastures Farm, if you're not familiar with Billy's channel, then I'd highly encourage you to check it out, graciously invited me along to his farm this morning to learn more about this concept of the Earthship. You see, Billy is actually going to be building an Earthship on his farm, on his homestead. And so, not even really knowing exactly what an Earthship is, I took great interest in this and decided to take him up on his offer and check it out. In addition to the Earthship itself, I'm also very keen on getting a look at his farm itself, which is pretty far along in terms of advanced permaculture design. Billy, as you may know, is somewhat of a permaculture expert. So it's, again, with great interest that I happily took him up on his offer and decided to come out this morning. Now, he lives in western North Carolina, and I am driving from East Tennessee. And I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite drives to make through these mountains, the Blue Ridge. It's stunning every time I go through here, and especially in the morning as the fog is beginning to lift and the sun is coming out. It is just gorgeous country. So I've arrived at the promised land here, Perma Pastures Farm, and I'm here with
Billy
of Perma Pastures Farm.
That's right.
And it's an honor to be here, and we're going to talk about this Earthship that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. But first, I'd also like to introduce you to my friend Nate.
Oh, hello.
And Katie.
Hello.
And Floyd and Kinsley. Which you guys, if you watch this channel, you probably already know them pretty well. And I think what we're going to do is maybe get a little walk around here at Perma Pastures Farm, get the lay of the land, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about this Earthship.
Dell is going to love you too. Oh, I love you friendly dogs. You're not like the feral dogs that I try to keep out of here with that gate. Right now, this thing's kicking somewhere around 8,000 volts. We got a switch right here, but fortunately I don't have one on the outside, much to the chagrin of any UPS driver.
I've had some recent experience with high voltage myself.
That's no
Yes,
good.
you.
Well, the way this is designed is that around the entire perimeter of the property is this hot wire. And it's designed, I invented this tethering system a long time ago. It's designed to where you can take a hot wire, attach it anywhere on the perimeter of this fence, and put in your sheep netting, which we'll look at, your chickens, our layers, our meat birds, all of it. It doesn't matter where they are. I can put, in fact, we got feeder lambs up the side there. The cool thing about this design, and that's the biggest reason for it, is that no matter where you are, you can clamp onto it, and then bam, you're good to go.
You're good.
This is going to be really relevant to you. Okay, you know how we went out to your place and you were asking about sheep mulching,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
This is what's called Jeff Lawton's Instant Garden. And it's really, there's not anything you see here that I expect to grow and harvest, not one thing. And I'll get to that in a minute. But all it is, basically, down below here, we have cardboard, which is quite, well, I'm not going to get to it there. But down below all this, you got cardboard, and it's basically been covered up. We got a little bit of compost that we've made through here. And down here, you got sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, that's right.
But they're not all that great right now. And the cool thing about it is with this method, with this sheet mulching method, we don't weed, we don't do anything. We just let this grow. And I'm gonna show you an area. All this soil was completely played out. You're not gonna see an awesome production this year. If anything, we're feeding the worms.
Sure.
But next year and the following years, when using this method, it gets better, and it's almost like you have an exponential response in how well it comes back. So I can show you an area where it was done, where you just saw it a little while ago with the tomatoes. It was last year, and what it's doing right now, it didn't do much last year, but this next year, it is blowing up. So these methods work. Exactly. Oh yeah, you can pull that. Yeah, go ahead and eat it. That strawberry.
Look at this boy. It's so warm.
Face for everything.
Oh,
He's like the male version of Giada de Laurentiis.
I like food.
Okay, here we are, chicken tractor on steroids.
Yes.
This is, to my knowledge, we're the first people on planet Earth to raise meat birds specifically in this system. Not Cornish crosses, but plenty of the red ones.
Yes.
And the cool thing about this system is, let's make sure this thing isn't hot. It's hooked on with my tethering system.
I know that idea.
The way this system works is that every 4 weeks, after the first 4 weeks, you get a cubic yard and a half of finished compost. And so far we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 cubic yards on the outside. Wow. What you see there in those blue tarps. The cool thing in this system is that in an 18-day compost pile, you're gonna turn that thing by yourself 9 times in 18 days roughly to get finished compost. We turned this 4 times by us in a month, and the birds do everything else.
Yep.
It is by far the most consequential chicken and composting producing system on the planet. And to my knowledge, there's really nobody else. I think I've had one subscriber actually give this a shot and replicate it. These guys are largely, you're seeing, some of these guys are gonna go into our laying flock. A great many of them are gonna go in the freezer. We hatched all of them out. Typically, we don't spend, by the time we figure up the compost and what we've saved on that, I mean, we're money ahead either way, even if we get regular birds that we get from a hatchery, but we raise these from the word go to show that it can all be done right here. They get everything they need primarily. This is what's beautiful about this system. They're getting a little bit of protein out of the comfrey, but in this system, they get mostly carbohydrates through here, and all of their protein they get out of those compost piles. They're eating the biota out of these compost piles. So you don't need to give them anything. They need almost nothing. The only thing you need to provide to them is every blue moon, maybe a little bit of diatomaceous earth, but by and large, they get everything they need right here in this system or out of those compost piles. They don't need anything
They
else.
destroyed that comfrey.
That's right.
It's gone.
This is the area that we sheet mulched.
These maters, yeah.
This was awful. This whole area was every bit. That's why the stuff down low there, we don't even care if it grows or not. It's really not a big deal. We already know. All I want to do is put structure in the soil with the root growth.
Yep.
We know that it ain't going to do no good. But where we sheet mulched, which is this area right here, hasn't been watered, hasn't been fertilized, hasn't been anything.
Wow.
This is just
This is just nature.
This is the second iteration of sheet mulching.
Wow.
This is year 2 of sheet, well, starting to be year 2.
No
this
touch.
area. No, and then
No water.
Nope, we did that.
Wow.
And this. And then you compare it to all the areas that weren't sheet mulched.
That is incredible.
So
Look at that.
these areas, this is why I was telling you the sheet mulching works so well, because the areas that we sheet mulched a year ago, it's a little disappointing. A little bit.
You gotta have some patience though,
That's
right?
right. But you know what? I know what it's like to say, or to realize that there are things I can't do. I want to know what it's like to go after all these things I was told I can't do, and do them, and maybe inspire other people to do this stuff along the way. Growing chickens, growing pigs, building an Earthship, raising chickens, or raising trees in a way that were never designed or meant to be this way. All these things are happening, but it wasn't without a great deal of experiment and sacrifice and, spending time figuring out what works and what doesn't. I'm not by any means an expert on anything. If anything, I seek to be an expert. I want to be the Dr. Phil of nature. I want to know how this apple tree works well with this nitrogen fixer. I want to know how all of this stuff goes together in close proximity to my sheep. I want to know how the sheep, the chickens, the bees can all work together, because they do. There's so many different ways, and the only limitation is our own imaginations. So tell me I can't grow a nitrogen fixer in the same hole as a productive tree, you just got proven wrong. Tell me I can't raise chickens a certain way, you got proven wrong. Show me I can't run these pigs up through these hills, prove you wrong. And I'm also going to prove all the naysayers out there far and wide, not all of them in necessarily YouTube land, but a number of people out there scoffing at the notion that somebody like me can go out there and put this together, because I can and I will.
In the question that I started my video with, what is an Earthship? I know that's a very broad question and there's a lot of context involved, but if somebody were to ask you, what is an Earthship, and you were to tell me in a couple minutes, what would you say?
Yeah, I actually get asked this question quite often, and I never have a good response for it. It's always...
It's too hard to encapsulate, right?
It's right. So it's like a... actually, the creator of it, Michael Reynolds, compared it to the Ark, like Noah's Ark.
Okay.
So it needs to have everything in there to sustain life.
Yes.
Right. So an Earthship, he compares it to like a spaceship or whatever. You need everything. You need to provide your own water in the form of rainwater catchment or well water, whatever you have available. You have to be able to grow your own food. So there's the greenhouse. You have to be able to heat and cool that place, which is the passive heating and cooling, with the greenhouse on the front creating convection, pulling cold air through the cooling tube. Sewage is another thing. So you need a way to get rid of your waste or use your waste. So their water is one of your biggest forms of waste.
Gray water and black water, right?
So the water is used 4 times in an Earthship.
Okay.
So you capture it as rainwater, and then it's used for your showers and like cooking and drinking and stuff like that, right? And then the gray water is used in your gray water planter, which is growing you food.
Okay.
Now, you have to be careful with what you're putting in your gray water if you're going to do that. So just practice a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And then from your gray water planter, it's going to your toilet.
Okay.
And then you use that to flush, because you don't necessarily need clean water to flush. No. But it's already gone through, it's already been filtered and somewhat clean. Okay. So it doesn't stink or anything like that. One of the issues with Earthships, everybody claims is an issue, is the tires... gas, like, was it off-gassing of the tires? Yeah. So you use used tires. All the off-gassing has already occurred, and then you're also encased. So they can only off-gas if they have access to sun and air. Okay. You're blocking off the sun and air by casing it in Adobe. And they've actually done air quality studies since then. And the air inside the Earthship is cleaner than it is outside the Earthship. Wow. Because the Adobe ends up acting as like a filter. Same with the plants in the front of the greenhouse.
So we're going to clear all this junk out. We got a dump trailer up the hill, which we'll use to do all that. Here's what I didn't want to hear, y'all, is sadly, we're going to put that Earthship right here. Unfortunately, what sucks is that this barn has got to come down. It's going to be, the face of it is going to be this way. And you know what, here's the most embarrassing part, is that the angle that it's cut out here into the side is already 15 degrees.
Perfectly aligned up.
So it was made for this area. We're going to basically take that barn piece by piece, take it down the hill, because lumber prices are through the roof right now, reposition it down the hill, and then this whole area will be the site of the Earthship, because it's largely flat. We can work with it. But the cool part is it's facing the right direction. We just got to clear things out. We just got to cut into the hillside a little bit. So this is where it's going to be. And... it's going to take a lot of work, but we're looking forward to it.
So we've learned about what an Earthship is. We've seen diagrams. We've seen blueprints of this Earthship, and it's frankly really exciting. I didn't know much about it. And the more I learn about the Earthship design, the more excited I get about it. And so Billy walked us through about what some of the initial plans are. William talked about how it works. What's next for you guys in terms of this Earthship? What's the plan?
Well, we're in one of our awesome neighbors out here, Justin, at Metcalf Mills, came out, had to get a second set of eyes on this place. because we couldn't seem to figure out anything that made sense. Well, because of our closeness of it, we just, you know, it just never worked out right. He took just a kind of brief look around here, looked at the place where the barn is, and said, hey, hate to break this to you, but this is probably the best spot. And reluctantly, I had to agree with him. And I say reluctantly because who wants to tear down a barn?
Yeah.
But there ain't no other place to put it.
So right now, it's taking down that barn. That's the next step.
Yeah, that, possibly raising a little bit of money. I could work as a man dancer.
I've heard some good names that you could use.
Oh yeah, there's a few. There's a few, but yeah, we want to, as you can tell us walking up this hill right now, this is hilly terrain. It ain't the best place in the world. But on the same token, being able to put it up here has a bunch of tactical advantages, not the least of which being it's already oriented exactly where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Just following this line right up in here, notwithstanding the junk, if we just sit here, follow this line right here, it's 15 degrees off from due south. So all we got to do is go with it, maybe even kick it out a little bit more, make life easy for us. First and foremost, this permaculture barn that we were working on or trying to work on, never liked that barn anyway.
It's time to take it down.
Who needs you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to take it down anyway.
Okay, well that's really exciting, and I hope that we get to be a part of this journey and follow along with you guys and help you out any way that we can. So thanks for showing us this, Billy.
That's
I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We got plenty of room in the house. So when you want to come here and work as an indentured servant.
I've been talking about digging therapy. Anyways, I love digging. I love the pickaxe. I love a mattock. I love a sledgehammer. So I'll get my bugs out. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.